Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube journey to Charcoal Lane, and it's been a great series. And today's going to be our last episode, and we've saved uh, the best uh, to last. And I'll be talking to a good old friend of mine that remembers the days of Charcoal Lane and the parks. And one of my few friends to the left that remember those days that are alive actually during those times. And his name is Bootsie Thorpe. So I'd like to introduce Bootsie Thorpe to everybody and just say hello. How are you, Bootsy?
Hello to you all there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How are you
yeah.
today? Good?
Hey?
How are you today? Good?
Oh, good, yeah. Yeah, I finally went out yesterday for the first day of release.
Yeah, that's it.
Lock-
Eh? Melbourne was pretty
Yeah,
bad being locked down, eh?
yeah. Yeah, I went up to a property up at Mernda. It's run through Bunzl, through Darty Monroe.
Oh,
We
yeah,
done
yeah.
an elders group up there with the young fellas that are residents of the program.
Okay, was
Yeah.
that good?
Oh, yeah. I was telling them all the stories about our times, and
Yeah.
they really enjoyed it, you know.
Oh, that's good.
About our quarts of wine and my Robbo, where we used to get them from.
Yeah.
That little one, yeah, my Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I suppose that's what we talk about today, mainly about, those days. I remember, of course, but you were there long before you and my brother
yeah,
Lawrence and
yeah,
everybody else, before I rocked up in Fitzroy all those years ago. And
yeah.
yeah, but we were just talking about just reminiscing and remembering those days. You're talking about
Well,
you were talking about the quarts of wine. We used to get, and that's what they
yeah.
were. We didn't have any name except a quarter light or a quarter dark. We were
No,
quite.
they were. I was telling the young fellas a quart of wine. They say, "How big was that, Unc?" I said, "Well, it was between size between the flagon and the smallie."
That's it. That's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
and
I didn't really quite know what it was. It was just a quarter light or dark, and then
yeah,
we'd cut across Smith Street and down to Charcoal Lane and had a
yeah,
good old charge there and the
yeah.
and those were the
And
days.
sometimes we used to send Myrtle, Elmer, and Faye up to that little butcher shop in Smith Street. Do you remember? To get
Yeah,
the flaps, getting the mutton flaps for us.
that's
Cook them
it.
up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Cook up the flaps,
yeah,
mutton flaps, and have a good feed. Yeah, but it was. I remember the days. Just sitting in the park, sitting in the lanes, and then up in
oh
the park
mate,
as well later on after it'd be in Charcoal Lane in the morning, and we
yeah,
head up to the park and later on in the day afternoon.
yeah, and the hole in the wall, eh?
The hole in the wall, yeah, that was a great spot there. The hole in the
That was
wall,
our camp. That
eh?
was our camp. Eh? That was our camp.
That's right. I remember Lawrence camped there a bit, during the days, but
We
that's
all
where
did.
eh?
We all camped there.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember the days we had to have a camp up there. Yeah, just crash up there, sleep, and when the horse rocked up, we finally had that. They'd be cooking up, have the fire going, and in the bucket there, they're
Yeah,
cooking
with
up at that. Yeah,
Marlene, his wife.
hey,
Marlene, Horse's wife.
yeah, Marlene, yeah,
I remember when they come over, Arch, this is after we stopped drinking in the lanes. We was in the park,
yeah,
and I was in the champion, and Marlene come in, and someone introduced her to me.
yeah,
Oh, this is Bootsie. This is Horse's wife, Johnny's wife, and he was over the park. And I said to him, Marlene said, "Oh, you know Horse?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I first knew him when I was about 7, up in
yeah,
Numarella, up
yeah,
in
yeah,
Gippsland. When Uncle Archie, your dad and Mum, Auntie Nell,
yeah,
and Myrtle and Elmer, Lawrence and Johnny lived down the bottom of the Cutton. They
yeah,
were camping because they used to travel around looking for work. Uncle
true,
Archie,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And Marlene went back over the park and she couldn't think of Boots.
yeah,
So she said to Horse, she said, "Oh, there's a fella coming over in a minute. I think his name's Shoes. And when I went over there, give horse a cuddle, and and Marlene said, I knew it had something to do with your feet. She couldn't think of that.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, I remember that, and but like those days, but was back in the time when community was strong around Fitzroy, and you couldn't walk down Gertrude Street, without being stopped by 6 or 7 people, and if you were getting to one place to the other, it took about an hour to get to where you were going because people would have yards to you in Gertrude Street. You'd just be talking to people. It was those good days.
Fellas would give you a couple of dollars to patch up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You didn't have to ask them. They just hit their pocket and they knew we was doing it hard. And not hard, we was going to lose me, eh?
Yeah, well, that's it, here you go, that'll help you patch up, and that's why, Tarpaul and Mustard, which I wrote in the song, Charcoal Lane. Side by side, we walk along to the end of Gertrude Street and Tarpaul and Mustard.
I always cry when I listen to that song, Arch.
Yeah. Because, every time
you've been a great inspiration for our people, Arch, when you started singing and, how many bands and singers did we, like artists, musicians, did we have at that time? None. There was only Jimmy Little.
That's it, old Jimmy Little, yeah.
And then you started your journey. I think you followed your dream, mate.
Yeah, I did, I remember when I first started, singing songs when I stopped drinking. And I started writing a few songs, and old Johnny Mack was alive.
Yeah.
And he said, he said, that's good. You should do something with your songs, Arch. And go a long way with that. I said, I don't know about that, but there you go. You never know what's going to happen in life, do you? But
well, they inspired us a lot because me and you, we was the youngest there in the lanes in the park.
Yeah, that's right.
And they looked after us.
Them older fellas, and I'll tell you, like when we talk about old Johnny Mack, he'd always get, always good for a laugh. Johnny Mack, he always make us laugh. Old Georgie, right? He'd make you laugh too. I remember we'd be sitting in the park, he'd be going through the paper.
Yeah.
Next minute he'd look at us and say, well, I'm sorry to say, gentlemen, there's no situation vacant today. Oh, Tom.
When I'm sometimes, when I'm feeling down, especially around this period of time, since this virus has been out, sometimes I feel down.
Yeah.
I go and sit out the back of my place and I just think about the old times and it puts a smile on my dial, just thinking about them.
It does, so many things. Old Tommy loved the chief. I'm the chief.
Yeah.
Chief. I said, Tommy, you're not really the chief. We just call you that.
Remember the time, Arch, when he was in the builders there, we was all there. Tom come in.
Yeah.
And he walked in one door and he was barred. So Chris the publican put him out the other door in George Street.
Yeah.
On the corner of the builders.
Yeah.
He put Tom out that door. He said, "You're barred, Tommy." Tommy walked around the corner into Gertrude Street, the other door. He opened the door and Chris was standing there. And Tommy looked at him and he said, "Chris, how many pubs do you own?"
Yeah, coming in the lounge. Good old days. I remember, Tommy and a lot of pub, we were in the Builders or the Champion, but the Builders, that was a good place to sit there and
we all looked after each other, Arch, we respected each other.
That's the main thing. That was the main thing, and it's young fellas reckon talk about being parkies and what's it called. I said, hey, you're not parkies, bootlegs.
No.
We actually looked after each other, had each other's back, and I remember when you flake out in the park, you go sleep in the park, and there was always somebody there just sitting there just watching you. And
well, I tell people that we slept on every blade of grass in that park. Hey.
just about every blade of grass, but yeah, and but it was it was a time, and you know, you learn a lot from that. You learn to be staunch, you know. You learn to look
Oh, yeah.
after yourself. You learn to look after other people, and they look after you. That's why, you know, what you do in community through the
Yeah.
years after you stopped drinking, what you did
Yeah.
for community was looking after people, and that stuff we
Yeah.
learned back in the lanes and
Yeah.
the park.
That's where we got our knowledge from, eh?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
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 But you know, we had our morals, we had our values,
Exactly.
we had our own code of ethics. They weren't written, but there was a code of ethics.
That's right. That's
And
right.
people always learnt that, eh?
Well, that's right. And if people mucked up, you know, didn't abide by
So
that code, we'd say,
that's
well,
what,
see you later.
yeah,
Come back when you've thought about things.
yeah, when you
And
feel better.
that's the way it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of young fellas aren't always thinking, me and Faye often talk about it, and I talk to other people in the men's groups and that about, you know, the stolen generation, like you being one of them.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of those young fellas found their families coming back into Fitzroy. You
Mm.
know, they'd get off a plane or a bus or a train. First place they'd ask for where Fitzroy was.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
That's where they find their family.
That's right. Well, I didn't know nothing about Fitzroy when I come back from
No.
Sydney looking for family, and got to Melbourne, and I was just hanging around Melbourne until I ran into this
Well,
Koori fella that was, you know, I was having a charge with all the other blokes, you know, white fellas, and we were drinking with this old black fella come across. And first time I'd seen a black fella in Melbourne,
yeah,
and I was like, "Where do you come from, mate?" He said, "Oh, I just come from Fitzroy."
yeah,
I said, "Fitzroy, where's that?" He said, "Oh, well, I'll show you how to get there."
yeah,
Well, he give me directions to Fitzroy. I said, "What's in Fitzroy?" He said, "What's in Fitzroy?" He said, "Don't you know about Fitzroy?" I said, "No." He goes, that's where we all gather and drink.
yeah,
Not just drink, that's where community is." And I
yeah.
remember I
We
found
never
my
had
way
no,
there and bang.
yeah,
First,
we never had
first
no fights.
eh?
We never had no fights amongst us.
No. I just ran
Yeah,
to Alma at the champion, you know, and straight away she took us down to builders there. And
yeah.
I'm not sure if it was in the Pillars or Charcoal Lane that I met Lawrence.
No, it was I was standing next to Lawrence, Archie, when you met him, when you first come into that. We called that Cork Lane because we used to get our quarts of wine from
Yeah,
Robert, and
yeah.
we'd go across the road, Little Smith Street, there's a car park there, and we're
Oh,
all standing there drinking. And Lawrence was standing right next to me.
yeah. That's right.
Because
That's right.
Myrtle and Elmer was already here in
Yeah,
Fitzroy.
that's right.
But
That's
and when you come in, like Johnny Mack always asks, or he always used to ask, you know, who's your mob and what's
yeah,
your name? And
yeah,
you said, I'm on those Archie Roach and I'm looking for my family,
yeah.
my brother Lawrence. And Lawrence was standing right next to me, mate, and the tears just run down his face, you two, and just cuddled each other.
That's right.
So when you never broke each other's ribs.
That's right. Oh, wow. You brought back memory there.
Yeah, I can still remember like it was yesterday, you know.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right. And I don't know why slipped my mind. I should remember
yeah.
that like that. But that wasn't Charcoal Lane, though, was it? It was the
No,
other
that was Cork Lane.
Cork Lane.
That's because the quarts of wine we used to have, they never had the
Yeah,
screw top, they had a cork.
Cork. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, if we couldn't get the cork out,
yeah.
we'd push it down into the bottle.
Push it down back into the bottle. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Oh
And
wow.
then when Lawrence come down, then later on after you come to Melbourne, Fitzroy, then Sully come down, and
Yeah,
Archie and Sully
right.
Lawrence and Sully got a house in Little Napier Street.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't matter where we was drinking, whether it was up the lane or in the pub, but we was always conscious of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Go to Lawrence and Sally's and watch F Troop.
That's right. That's right.
So we named ourselves F Troop,
F
eh?
Troop. That's right. We were the F Troopers. You and me, the from some of the last of the F troopers, I can't remember. I don't know who's still around. Boots.
No, mate.
Yeah,
Out of the original Lane Drinkers Arts, there's only myself, you, Faye, and Myrtle left.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
yeah, but they're still with us.
Yeah, that's it, but
Yeah.
oh, look, it's been wonderful talking to you and reminiscing,
Oh,
about this
mate.
time, and Charcoal Lane and just that time in Fitzroy when the community was strong. And like you said, people used to come there and meet family. It wasn't just about drinking. There was community. You go there and old fellas used to look at you and ask you, like Johnny Mack and others, and say, "Oh, who's?" They wouldn't ask you your name. They'd say, "Who's your father's name? Who's your mum's name?" And
Yeah.
if you knew, you'd say straight away, and they'd look at you and go, "Oh, yeah," and they'd go through your whole family, and they'd say, "Oh, I know who you are."
You're his
If they knew
brother.
your
You're his
family,
brother.
yeah,
Yeah. But,
yeah.
they were great in them days.
They were good days, Boots, and it's good to see you today, and
Yeah.
we can remember times like that, So
And
thanks for being a part of this today and a part of the Charcoal Lane journey, Buzz. I'm really, really, I don't know, I'm glad that you could be a part of it, but because it's important that I'm glad you said you'd do it, and I was so happy and stoked.
Yeah.
I said, because he knows all about what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But we all had that mutual respect for each other, Archie,
Yeah,
we all loved each other like extended family.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's true. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
We had each other's back. There's no way you could walk down the street. No way anybody could say anything to you because, if you didn't give him a biff or a chin, you or somebody else would give him and say, "Hey, watch your mouth."
Yeah.
And sometimes you didn't even have to lift a finger. Someone else would come and
No.
go, "Dush, dush,"
Yeah,
say,
that's it.
"See you later, bud." And that's the way it
Adios.
was. That's the way it was. Yeah.
And I used to love going down to your place when you was out in Clingan Street near my place.
Yeah.
I used to love going down there and having a yarn with you, and having a strum and talking Denman and and I remember one day Ruby said to me, I think it might have been Ruby or you said, "Butch, what's the matter with our community now?" I said, "The trouble is there's no unity in our community."
Mm.
You said to me, "I'm going to write a song about that."
Yeah.
But never ever done it. But I always think of it. Yeah.
That's a good idea. There's no more unity in the community. And that's interesting. You make me think now. Come up with a song about it, something like that.
You'll be on your album, mate.
Yeah, put on another album.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's good to see Faye there before too. And remember the days, and remember the days back then. Back when. There'd be heaps of us walking down Gertrude Street to go to Charcoal Lane or wherever. We'd come from Scotty's or somewhere across the garden, the exhibition.
Arch, we got to set people straight about Charcoal Lane because a lot of fellas today they said, "Oh, I remember Charcoal Lane," and I'd say to them, "Where was it?" They'd say in Fitzroy. And I used to say, "No, it wasn't. It was in Collingwood."
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because, a lot of people say, "Oh, I know where it was." But there's only yourself, me, Faye and Myrtle that know where it is today. And when you build on top of it now.
Yeah, we have to set them straight, but some people say, "Oh, it was up near St Vincent's Hospital." I said, "Nah, stop it. Across Smith Street on the Collingwood side."
Yeah.
You got to understand the lay of the land. Smith Street was the border between Collingwood and Fitzroy. You cross Smith Street, you was in Collingwood, and coming back from there, you get back into Fitzroy.
Did you ever tell people where Charcoal Lane come from? Remember we used to sit there and we watch the fellas come to work?
Yeah.
The white people, non-Aboriginal people, go into the factory.
Yeah.
They come from smoke out, and they look like Al Jolson. Hey, back.
That's right. That's where it came from. I tell people, and they go and, what
You
was
was
it?
the one
Looking
that
like
named it.
Al Jolson and Mammy.
Yeah, yeah, you was the one that named it Charcoal Lane.
Hey, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, but we had names for all those lanes in Fitzroy, but I can only remember Cork Lane, Charcoal Lane, and
Yeah,
Apple Tree Lane.
yeah, apple tree.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. Well, there's nothing more we can say, I suppose, Bruce. It was good yarning to you today.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of it.
No worries, Arts.
And I'd love to catch up with you, before too long, and
Oh,
see you properly
lovely.
face to face, and we can have a good
Yeah.
old yarn then,
I think the last time I had time with you was down at Clingan Street, you and Ruby.
Yeah, proper good time together. That's right. We sit down and have a cup of tea and just a good old yarn, reminisce, sing a few songs, Charcoal Lane, some other songs.
Talks with each other. We always had that humour, right? That sense of humour.
That's what
Yeah.
That's what kept us going, You had to, especially in the morning when you would cook, cook from the grog, you had to have a laugh,
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd be sitting there miserable, and that's what people did, like Johnny Mack and and Georgie Wright and others.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go and Johnny Mack when they brought out when they brought out that handshake, and Johnny Mack, which way, like this, and like that.
Yeah.
Give you this handshake. Then you talk about the car, the courier car, driving along, and people being back there with lighters.
Yeah, full of us.
So always have a laugh. We need to have a laugh.
Oh, yeah. Well, you felt shit house in the morning. As soon as you run into someone, you felt good straight away.
Straight away. As long as you saw somebody, you was happy.
Yeah.
Because we knew, we're all feeling crook, and hopefully, we wake up and when the license grass opens, straight down there, you get a charge.
Yeah. I remember one time we woke up crook there one day or one morning, and Bronson,
yeah.
Me and him, we patched up, and we decided, because the licence grocers weren't open at the time when we woke up.
Yeah.
So me and Bronson said, we'll go over to the early openers and get a couple of flagons.
Yeah.
Me and him go over there to North Melbourne.
Yeah.
By the time we got back, the licence grocers was open. We couldn't wait.
Yeah.
But,
we could talk. We could talk all day to you, Boots, about those days,
Yeah.
but we haven't got the time. But thanks for being here today and having a bit of a yarn with us about it. It's good to see your face, even though it is on Zoom or whatever we call it, on YouTube. Yeah.
We're both good looking, eh?
You're good looking. I'm a bit. I don't know how I feel. You're right, bud. Yeah.
All right, then, mate.
All right, then.
Take care and be careful of this storm that's coming through.
Same to you. You make sure all the windows are locked and you're okay.
Yeah.
All right,
okay, then, bro.
Good to talk to you, brother. See you then.
Love you, mate.
Love you, bud. Yeah.